How are you feeling about your Steelers? Because my take at first was I like Pittman. I like making a move for Pittman, coming to your offense. He's a very good, reliable receiver. You kind of need that opposite
He'll be a
DK.
wide receiver too.
I think Jamel Dean's been kind of underrated his entire career. He's always just been a very good corner. Then they added Jaquan Brisker. And I'm like, holy shit, I actually think the Steelers have done a pretty respectable job in free agency.
They've had a decent job in free agency so far. As I said, Jamel Dean, you're here to replace James Pierre, who had an outstanding season. I'm going to miss the guy, especially over the past year, what he's done. But I think he was going to get a premium in the free agency market. Minnesota's getting a really good player there. And I think for the same regard, you have somebody that more or less sorry, I didn't realize you were adding there. My bad. But the thing there, like it's a situation where you needed an upgrade there. Jamel Dean is a proven corner, Super Bowl champion corner. And you need somebody to go the opposite way of someone like a Joey Porter Jr., which is why Jaquan Brisker technically came to Pittsburgh, because he played with Joey Porter Jr. in Penn State. And you're reuniting them more as a buy low candidate, somebody who can be quality depth, because they had that issue later on, especially with all the injuries, the attrition. Juan Thornhill didn't work out. You had Jalen Ramsey playing safety because Deshaun.
Oh, God. Tree froze. We've got a frozen tree.
I was never like super crazy about him, but as a wide receiver too, I think he could be a really solid addition. The Steelers have had a lot of issues with their wide receiver too. They've never really had that sort of replacement. A bunch of guys they tried to go for either got hurt or they failed to really acquire them. And I think that's what they're really trying to solidify here. I know you're paying them $29 million a year, so did I freeze?
You froze for a second, but then your voice came back in and you finished.
That stinks. But the main thing there, I think it's an interesting buy. I know Calvin Austin has left. I know because I would have loved him as a slot guy, but I think you can replace him in the draft. In terms of someone like running back, I am really going to miss Kenneth Gainwell. He was an outstanding running back, and he was probably one of our best defensive weapons, especially in terms of the surprise that he came into being. I think he could be a premium running back, and Tampa Bay got themselves a nice gem. But I will say I love Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle, I kind of expected him to be in Pittsburgh because of that connection with Mike McCarthy. And with that, but I loved him in Dallas in 2024. This past year in Carolina, he was their best defensive weapon. And I think with him and Jaylen Warren, I think you've got a nice piece. But once again, the question is, what do you do at quarterback? Are you still trying to wait on 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, or are you going to try for someone else? And that's going to be the issue. And until you fix that, you're still stuck in that hamster wheel. And that's going to be the concern, because the thing with Rodgers is he had flashes last year. You saw flashes of that old form, but when he played an elite defense, he couldn't do anything. I don't know if that was the Arthur Smith experience or something else, but as I said, it's just like, it just feels like it's a team that feels like it's trying to compete, but I don't know if it has the horsepower to really go that way. So that's the concern.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I don't think it was Arthur Smith. I think it's just the point of Aaron Rodgers, career.
Yes, it is what it is.
And I think, like, if you're going to argue in favor of it, you would say a reliable and consistent run game is the thing that could help Rodgers in those situations.
I think he did have a pretty solid running game last year, though, for the most part. I know Warren
I guess you need an elite
Gainwell did have, like...
You need elite with Rodgers.
Yeah. But here's the problem, though. I feel like, how can you really get elite unless you get somebody like a Saquon Barkley, which you're not going to get, especially with our cap situation.
And I think, like, was Kenneth Gainwell, would you say one of his strengths was catching passes out of the backfield?
It was a durability thing, too. It was a dual threat wide receiver. And it was also sort of as a rollout option that he can use as a wide receiver. And he was also pretty good with running the ball and field vision.
Yeah,
I think that was a combination of those things.
That's my question with Rico is, like, you might have more upside as a straight running back. We've seen him, have those 200-yard games, and he's like, was it 2 last year or pretty close to it?
Yeah. I know he had that big catch against Detroit, which turned the tide.
But yeah, it's like how frequently and reliable is he going to be in the Steelers offense as a pass catching back versus Kenneth Gainwell? Like that's probably your trade off there.
Yeah.
With Rodgers, as a Steelers fan, are you annoyed that he's taking his time to make this decision again? Would you have preferred that he make a decision before free agency, so that the Steelers could say, you know what, we actually do need to address quarterback, even if it's not like our long-term starter. Let's maybe pursue, Kirk Cousins or whoever it is. Maybe we should trade for Geno Smith this year. Like, would you have preferred that, or do you not really give a fuck? You're like, whatever he wants to do, we're kind of screwed either way. Just let it play.
I think the problem is like there's no real good option out there this year. We were talking this time last year about how elite this quarterback class was going to be in the draft. Arch Manning, he's staying in school. Nussmeier never panned out. Klubnik fell off the map. Aller fell off the map. There are a few other guys that were there too that have just sort of faded out or just did their own thing. Like it's Fernando Mendoza, then a gigantic chasm, and then Ty Simpson, who is just a wild card, didn't really wow me at Alabama, but there's not much else out there right now. And I think it's a situation where you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because it was either Tua Tagovailoa, Kyler Murray, or the mystery box. Do we go in and grab a Geno Smith, or do we see, there's a Carson Wentz, here's Jacoby Brissett? It's a situation that
you wouldn't have had Brissett.
Yeah, he's a starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. They already have a picture on him out there. He is the future. Arizona.
He had a nice season. I like Jacoby.
He did. I mean, if you were looking at him
Kenny
as a fantasy
back.
Kenny Pickett. I love me some Kenny Pickett.
I know you
do. He is my vice. Like he is in terms of him as an actual quarterback, he's bad. He is, the first three quarters, he is John Skelton. He cannot make a throw. He just makes terrible decisions. He is skittish. And then come fourth quarter, he is John Elway, and you just can't break him for that. That's the problem.
So if you could have Rodgers for the first three quarters and then Kenny Pickett fourth quarter, you're going to take it?
Well, Aaron Rodgers was always good in the clutch too. So
yeah,
it's kind of...
He closed out that last game in Baltimore very nicely.
I know mostly had to do with Baltimore secondary and Zach Orr being a massive coordinator, but still, he did do a good job in that game. That was sort of the flashes you saw out of him, but once he played elite defenses, he just couldn't do anything. And I think I'm more angry at the Steelers for seeing him as just like they're catering and trying to, and not really moving forward. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
With the situation, because they see it as like, we were this close to a Super Bowl when you really weren't. So you run into a perfect storm in the AFC North where you had two starting quarterbacks get injured. You won the division because Tyler Luke missed a field goal. Like you were at the point where if he makes it, you're talking about the defense collapsing in that regard. So, hey, CD Price, my addiction to Kenny Pickett is fine. I just got to go to like Kenny Pickett Anonymous.
Yeah, I would say this is a healthier addiction.
Yes, it is a very healthy addiction. I do have his gloves right here, the Kenny Kitten mittens.
Yeah.